Welcome back to the workshop. We're putting the finishing touches now to our Philips 17TG100U black and white TV set, about 1960. Quick recap, I want to pot the EHT diode that we've inserted there. We've got this capacitor, can we see that? Yes, on the sound output transformer to replace because it's currently disconnected, and we've got to stuff those capacitors that are hanging in midair there back into the original can. Let's get on with it. First thing I'm going to tackle is the EHT diode, I think, because it's going to take a while to dry. So I've discharged the EHT. I'm just going to put that over there, leaving that sort of hanging in the balance. I got a freshly charged syringe with a Dow Corning silicone rubber, and I put something on the floor because you can guarantee rubber is going to ooze out of here and make a real mess on what remains of the workshop carpet. Right, so we're just going to start flowing some rubber into there. It'll take a minute or two to sort of work its way down. I'm not sure whether it is going to work its way down much past into the middle bit. Anyway, we can... Maybe we have to turn it up the other way once that end's gone off and pump back in from the bottom. Well, it is just making its way down past the diode a little bit. I'm also going to put a little bit around this button. Just because I can. Right, there. I'm going to turn that upside down when that's gone off in a little while. Repeat the process into the bottom, I think. Okay, while we're waiting for the rubber to go off, we need to change that capacitor that's hanging off the end of the sound transformer. And it's C705, which is here. I don't know whether you remember when we were reforming the main electrolytic, it was causing crackling, and that's because it was going to earth here. So I'm just drawing current through the output transformer, which caused the speaker to crackle. So we just cut it out. Anyway, needs replacing. I've just had a look in the parts list. Apparently C705 is 10 microfarads. Well, that seems like an awfully big value. Let's see what's actually fitted to the set. Right, while we're waiting for the glue to dry, this capacitor. Now, you may have noticed I was slightly surprised to see the value of 10 microfarads for that capacitor. It seems a little bit large. Not only does it seem a little bit large, it's not that sort of capacitor usually. That would have been an electrolytic. So let's just snip this out and have a little look at its value. That's much more like it. I got 18,000 picofarads at 600 volts. That's more what I was expecting. There it is. Can you see that? On focus, you know you want to. Anyway, let's try that one. 18,000 puff at 600 volts. So it's not 10 mic at all, is it? Right, looking in a box of capacitors. It's not great news, I suppose. I've got a 15,000 picofarads or 15 nanofarads, but it's only good to 250 volts. But I have got, I've got a 22 at 1,000, and given the poor tolerance of the originals, I think this will do us. So somehow we've got to get it in there between there and ground. So let's arm ourselves with a bit of connecting wire and put that in neatly. Right. Put a token insulation on here from when it was made, really. Wonder why the mistake on the diagram. I mean, it's definitely that capacitor, but it definitely isn't 10 microfarads. There we are. Now, being as this is the end that's energized, I'm going to attack the capacitor straight on that end and put that straight on the transformer. And then we're going to attach a wire on for the groundy side of it. Let's just tin our legs a little. Lovely, and give this a bit of a refresh after all these years. Right, just managed to get a blob of solder to fall off that there. It's gone down there. Let's get that out. There. There. All right. So I'm going to pop it that way round, like that. Just get a little more solder on that tag. Lovely. Okay. And then we need a little bit of a lead, which I should get from down here. Yeah, just the stuff. Where's my strippers? Tin that up. It's good stuff, this wire. It's quite stiff, but it is stranded and it's PTFE insulated. It does hold its form very well. I bought reels of it years ago, cheap at one of those ham radio rallies. Okay, and we can just dress that round there and take it down to there. We're going to want to cut it about there. Okay, put the iron back. Strip that end, and that goes back to the ground tag on the chassis. To refresh that. This is where I got my head in the way, sorry. There we go, just a bit of fresh solder on there. There we go. Dress that lead back in. And we can pronounce that fit. Jolly good. What to do with the polos? They were a legitimate repair at the time, and I think they're going to stay there for now. And what I shall do is I shall start searching eBay and what have you for a replacement dropper sections. See, this wiring's been warm there with the heat coming off them. Right, it's back round to restuffing the can. I'm going to wait for that rubber to go off and then, yeah, remove this, take the set off the bench so we can restuff the can. Right, see you in a minute. I've just realised there's another capacitor we haven't changed. C706. If you remember back to episode 1, we snipped that out before applying power because it's very likely to expire. C706, 56 nanofarads. And that needs to be an X class safety capacitor, X2 to be exact. And that's because it goes across our mains power supply. So C706, 56 nanofarads. Let's get on with that. So that is our offending capacitor. Appears to be held in by one of those nasty rubber things that was holding these cables to the line output transformer screen before. So can we get it out without it falling out? I'm just going to snip its positive end. It's just sort of hanging there, really. Almost like it was an afterthought. Let's get him out. I've potted the other end of the EHT lead. This looks very deformed, actually. I think that was on the edge of failing if it hadn't failed previously. What do you think? Is that blown out at the end there? Anyway, here's what we've got to replace it. A modern Class X2 reefer. And I'm hearing the whole internet now going, oh, don't fit a reefer, they explode. Well, they do explode, but only after sort of 50 years, 40 years, a long while. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on that tag, which is also couples the neutral part of the on-off switch straight to chassis. So that's our main neutral point. I'm going to put that in there and then connect our red wire to a short stub on the other side. And then it will just support itself in there. So, cut one lead off, make a hook, so that'll give it some strength. To be honest, I've seen a lot of people just snip these things out and leave them off. But, well, it was put in there for a reason. It keeps the interference from the mains from getting into the set, and it also stops the interference from the set getting in on the mains. And you might think that's rubbish, but I've got a Ferguson set that didn't have a suppressor cap in it, and it seems to put out quite a lot of rubbish, unbelievably, on UHF, considering it's a 405 line VHF only set. But yeah, it seems to disturb UHF quite a bit. So much so, without the cap in, if you put a digital converter box on the top of it, you'd lose signal occasionally. It took me ages to work out what was going on. I had to go around with a spectrum analyzer with an aerial on it in the end and find out what was causing my problem. But yeah, it was that. Right, this is going to be a little bit tricky to get at. We're in. There she goes. Lovely. Okay, well, that's not going to go anywhere, is it? Let's just take a little bit of that off there and strip the insulation back. This is where I slip with the pliers and go straight through the neck of the tube. No, we're good. Tin that up. You may have noticed, by the way, while I was waiting for the glue to go up, well, the rubber to cure on the other end of the anode cap, which I've done. I've had a little clean up. Here's something to note, by the way. The writing on the Phillips mini watt valves doesn't rub off anywhere near as quickly as the as easily as the writing on the Mullard valves. Unfortunately, the PCL82, which is a frame valve up in that top corner up here, yeah, it's got hardly left any writing on it at all now. I do be a bit careful. So, yeah, like I said in episode 1, I've got a box of valves somewhere I can't really identify. You never know. Someday somebody will make an app maybe and just point your camera at the app and at the valve on your phone, and it'll tell you what the valve is. Who knows? Of course, it's difficult with different types of heaters in there, but I suppose you can measure those. There we go. Right, that's a reefer installed, ready to go bang in 20 or 30 years or 40 years time. They might have improved them, but yeah, it's got to be better than that. That's horrible. Right, we're still waiting for rubber to go off down here. Never mind. What else we got left to do now? Oh, the can restuffing. I've removed our bodged up capacitor, ready for that. I'm going to take the set off the bench when we do that. But that's all those other little jobs tidied away now. We've just got the can to go. Right. I got bored waiting for the rubber to go off. So I Googled Bernard Smith of Barnstable. And yeah, it came up with a video showing a brand new shop refit in 2012. How wonderful. Also, it came up with a phone number. So I rang it, and a lovely lady called Jess answered the phone and announced that it's HBH Willicotts. And I said, looking for Bernard Smiths. And she goes, well, we bought the Bernard Smith business a number of years ago. So that's wonderful. And in fact, if you look at the shop front there, you can see just above the door, it says incorporating Bernard Smith. I think that's great. Anyway, I had a little chat with Jess. I've sent her some links to these videos. And it's because it turns out her manager has actually worked for the company since he was 18. I don't know how old he is now. He might be 19. But he's worked there since he was 18 and actually worked for Bernard Smith's. So there you go. Amazing. Still in business. I had no idea. Anyway, let's get on and restuff this can. Right, it's another capacitor to restuff. We have got to get these 3 capacitors inside this one can. I reckon they'll go. It's a little bit narrower, so I think that one will just fit, and I think we can stagger these 2 on top. So that's good. Now, my little plastic caps that I make to fit on the top of here, I haven't got one that'll fit. So that's our first job, is to get on the old Windows computer and yeah, let's build one of those up. There we go, a quick bit of design in Fusion 360, and I've got myself a 35mm diameter cap, which should suit that capacitor perfectly. Right, let's send that to the printer and get it turned into reality. Right, so while the 3D printer busies itself behind me, let's get the guts out of this. I'm going to cut the top off with a plumber's pipe cleaner to get the insides out. My dear lady wife, the long and suffering Mrs. Dawes, has bought me a brand new corkscrew, which wasn't as easy to find as you'd think. So yeah, first things first, let's get this, I hope it goes wide enough to get the cap in there, and we'll just cut the top clean off. Cool. I think we might be unlucky. I can just get on there. Right. Yeah, this thing's designed for 3 to 30mm. And I know for a fact this capacitor is 35 because I've just designed the cap for it. But I tell you what, that's worked brilliantly actually. Jolly good. You'll notice, of course, that this time, before even attempting this, I am wearing gloves. Right, we've got some goo going on inside and the lead out wires, which I can cut off. And yeah, the inside here is very, very dry this time. Right, let's attempt to get it out with a new corkscrew. Do I want to warm it up first, do we think? That might also be a good idea. Let's just get the hot air gun on that for 1 second. We don't want to get it too hot, just warm enough. I reckon that'll do nicely. Oh, it's going to be stubborn, this one. I can just feel it. That's not even digging in. I don't know, it's sort of coming. Let's just make sure this can is sort of not impeding us at the top here. That really isn't keen at all. Okay. The other thing we can do is, of course, just have a sort of delve in there and see if we can pick bits of it out. Right, but since we can't seem to get the corkscrew to play, we'll try a concrete screw pushed into the centre. Then we can grab hold of that and get it out. Oh. Okay. And we're going to need some heavy duty sort of a wrenching arrangement. Let's go with this pair of pliers. I'm just going to put them on the end of the bench here and try and drag that out. Let's see how we get on. Oh, I might just be able to do it here. Ooh. Yeah, we've made it's moving. Oh, it was moving. That's okay. We get more than one go at this. Let's have a little warm up again. Come on out, you know you want to. Doesn't want to happen. I've got another screw that's a bit thinner I can try. Let's give that one a go, shall we? That's got a long way in. Let's see if we can't get that to come and play. Oh, do you know what I need? I need a little slide hammer. It'd be absolutely perfect, because this one is stubborn. Oh, so stubborn. There's the other way, and that's to drill it out. Yeah, finally, we're starting to get there. Oh, I think it's all going to come out. I think we're there. I think we're just about. Oh yeah, go on. Oh, nearly. Ah. Oh, hallelujah. A little bit of wax to get out of there, but fabulous. So that's going to fit in there lovely, I reckon. I'm going to have to tidy this top up because it has undergone some damage, unsurprisingly. Right. Give you some idea of the time that took. That's just over 3/4 of an hour. Sometimes, you know, you just pop a screw in and out they come. Other times, well, they're just a pain, aren't they? There we are. Right, I'm just going to clean the wax out of there. That's quite effective. We'll be doing that. We'll clean up this top. It's taken that long that the 3D printer behind me has in fact completed printing. We'll see how that cap looks in a second. So, yeah. Ooh, gungy. That's all right. There we go. Oh, lovely. Wow. And as that has been a fight. Let's get that off in there. Yeah, that top's it's a bit rough there. Not good. But we shall make it look pretty in one moment. Right, how's the 3D printed cap come out? Is it going to be an acceptable first attempt? Oh, it is. By the time we've cleaned that top up, that is going to be just super when it's glued in. Yeah, I'm going to have to clean this top up. Right, that'll do for this section because it's time for me to have my tea. Right, horrible mess. Let's clear everything up, shall we? Right. Okay. One cap can. Need to trim this top or something and make it a bit nicer again. What if we just roll that over? Screwdriver handle, it'll straighten it out a bit. Oh yeah, that's working quite well. Still going to need to trim it back flat, I think. Yeah. Let's just take that edge off there. I'm just looking at this. Got some rather nice tags on here. They're all of the right colours, of course. So I'm just thinking we ought to try and save those if possible and mount them onto our cap. So I'm just going to unsolder this 330 ohm resistor and see if we can salvage the tags. We have of course got to take the 330 ohm resistor out of there as well, so we shall do that later. Right, I'm going to need a drill again. Should be enough. Let me carefully drill that rivet out of there. Excellent. 4 little tags where they can sit on top of our cap and do the job. I think we'll throw that away now. Oh, I think those will look quite smart on there. I'm going to enlarge these holes a little bit on this cap. I am going to go with this cap after all. So, yeah, I think we can make that work. Excellent. Right, next thing, I suppose I better deal with the electrical side of things. That 330 ohm resistor can go. He'll be mounted back on the outside of the can. Right, now how are we going to get these inside the can? We sort of go that way. Will that all fit in? It does. So I think that's the answer, is to put it all in that way up. Let's have a little zoom in. Right, so I'll attach wires on here, insulate this up, and then pop that into the can like that. We'll have the 4 wires coming out the top, put the cap on, solder these tags onto the 4 wires, and we're good to go. Let's stop talking about it and start doing it. Right. It's a red wire for the red tag, which is 100 microfarads, which actually 120 in here, if memory serves, which is this one, isn't it? Is that 120? That is 120. So good. Let's get that tinned up. Lovely. I find myself some heat shrink. Look at that, Satomatic Sat 101. Those are the days. But it has got a large quantity of heat shrink in it. We want some quite thin stuff. That is not heat shrink, that's rubber. Oh, that looks quite good. So let's get enough of that to hang ourselves with. Can go over the red wire for a moment. I'm just going to trim that hook off that we made earlier, because I'm not going to need that. There we are. Just stick that down there for a... We can solder that on there. If I can just get it stable enough, that's it. Lovely. So insulate that with a length of heat shrink, that's nice. So big heat shrink done. Lovely. Okay, will give us plenty of wire to be going on with. Let's get our ground connected. I shan't bother insulating the ground because it's chassis and can on the original capacitor anyway, so yeah. So we've got 2 wires left. What are the colours of the tags? So I've got me red and me black. What was yellow? Yellow was 250 mic. So that's that one. Have I got any yellow wire? Let's have a look. Oh, I have. Oh, and I've got green as well. Fabulous. So those are our missing colours. How lovely. She managed to get it right. So here's the yellow. Looking good. I'm just going to tilt that around a bit. Remove any chance of that getting upset against earth. There we are. Okay, now we've got to do is fit the cap and somehow fit these little tags. Yeah, let's have a look at that. I've just reprinted the cap. I've put a bigger flange on it this time. As you can see this, ooh, where are we? We're there. You can see that a little bit more of a flange on it this time. This one was just too shallow, which is going to be difficult to fit, and I've also enlarged the holes slightly. So the next thing we've got to do is just thread the wires through the holes. Yeah, like that. We're going to just need to ease these holes slightly, aren't we? Okay, that's all right. Let's get a set of drills again, and we'll just ease them out very slightly. Let's try that one. 3D printing holes is never an exact art, is it? I think I'm going to need the drill. I was hoping to do that by hand. Lovely. Okay, I'm only drilling out 2 because of the other wires, the PTFE stuff seems to go straight through. So let's have a go at that again. All right, there's 2 of the drilled. Fabulous. And yeah, that cap fits really well now. That's good. There we go. I don't think that's a particularly shabby job. It's not the tidiest around the top here, but hey. It's better than having those capacitors just sort of dangling around. Now, we've got to attach the tags. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the wire through, solder the wire to the tag itself, and then as the tag heats up with the solder, we'll just push it into the top of the plastic cap. Is that going to come out again? It's not, and it's good and solid. I'm going to leave that like it is. Right, should we just clean these up a little bit, or should we just go for it? Let's just go for it. So I thread the yellow one on. I want to cut that about there, about the length of the tag. Strip it back. That's perfect. Okay, this might be going in and out of it a few times yet. Just going to hold that in place on the bench. Should I do it like that? That might be advantageous. Right. Oh, it seems to have stuck quite nicely into the PLA. What I want to avoid doing is having to glue it, especially as I'll be tempted to use super glue. And if you've ever used super glue and solder in the same sentence, you'll know that those two are completely incompatible. Unfortunately, many years ago when I used to work in servicing domestic electronics, there used to be a certain Panasonic video recorder, and it had memory capacitors, and they were super glued to the board. And as soon as you touch those with the soldering iron, that'd be it. Your eyes would be burning. Most unpleasant. Apparently what happens is the super glue sort of vaporizes, and yeah, and then sticks to your eyes. Eek. So not recommended at all. Don't know how true that is, but yeah, it's a really unpleasant experience, so avoid that at all costs. Lovely. most reasonable, I think. Fabulous. Right, where was that 330 ohm resistor? I can't remember now. It's between one of them. It's between the... Oof. No, it's going to be a circuit diagram job, isn't it? Right. Right, it's between the 10 and the 250. So that is green to yellow. Green to yellow. Oh, it's all worked out very nicely. I'm going to pronounce that fit. Let's get the telly back in and fit it into the chassis, see what it goes like. Right. Sets back off. Oh, those of you that may have noticed, I've done a little bit of what CSW would call an aftermarket zip tie modification, which is standing the EHT rectifier off the can slightly. Just a couple of zip ties and a couple of P-clips have secured that in nicely. So hopefully that shouldn't be tempted to arc over. Right, getting the can back in. I think the first thing to do is to actually wire it up. So that wire's the shortest, which is the ground. It's actually orange, it's the shortest, so you may have to do that one last. Now, where are my notes? So the yellow wire goes to the red tag. No, the red wire goes to the yellow tag. That's it. Right. Red wire, yellow tag, correct. So, yeah. This is just in the way, isn't it? Let's take the tube base off. There we go. White wire, red tag. Excellent. Orange wire is going to be a little bit tricky. So I think it's going to be the black ground wire next. Mount the can in its bracket. Then finally solder up the orange wire. Sorry if you can't see much of them, I'm in the way. Oh, the top camera's doing okay. Okay. Right, now I need to gain access to the green tag, so I'm going to leave that at the front and tuck this back into its bracket. A little spring clip. My black wire has sprung off, but I'm going to do it in situ, I think. Oh, one. Man, that's a tight thing. It's got it. That's got it. Okay. So, what black? Oh, right. That's my black wire. I'm just going to refresh that a bit. It's snapped off. Alrighty, and let's get the orange one hooked back on its tag, because that's going to be fairly straightforward. That's it. And that's the ground wire back on. Excellent. We should now have a serviceable set. By the way, I've put the Bernard Smith card in a little bag and I shall secure it to the bottom of the set, because I think that's a lovely piece of history. And yeah, perhaps I'll put a little note from myself in there as well as to what we did 53 years after Bernard Smith last looked after the set. So all that. Oh, that's important. That's the EHT ground slipped off. Not happy with that spade. Let's just tighten him up a shade. That should be all right now. Much improved. Lovely. Right, that can hook in there as it did previously. Well, I think we're nearing completion, aren't we? Let's power everything back up, make sure it's okay, and then fit that bracket back on, clean the back up, and start cleaning up the cabinet, I think. Excellent. We don't appear to have a picture. What has happened? It's all right. What's a shade more height? Yeah, lovely. Right, it appears to clean behind the glass. It is a chassis and tube out job, which is something I can't really undertake in this workshop because it's too damn small. There is a lot of detritus in there that you might not be able to see. There, I've even managed to move the piece of trim back into the centre there to cover up the little split. I think that's quite a handsome looking set, really. Lovely. All that remains to do now is to sit down with a glass of wine, I suppose, and watch some telly. Good idea. Nice glass of wine, sit down and watch the telly. Oh, there's never anything on, is there? Never anything on.